Hey guys, Mike Toy, Bonsai Boise. So I'm surrounded by a forest of Scheffleras here, as you can see. You're probably wondering what I'm gonna do with these all. I've been wondering the same thing. So here's what I'm gonna do, and I'll tell you why. I'm gonna make my own Schefflera clump, or the beginnings of one, in this pot right here. And the reason I'm doing it is because it's now late September in Boise here, and it's time to begin the process of bringing in these tropical trees. They can't be outside, and the problem is you don't realize how many you have until you start bringing them all in, and you realize, oh wow, this cutting survived and that cutting survived, and oh, it looks like a lot of cuttings survived, and now I have a forest of cuttings. So you just kind of do them one at a time when you're doing it throughout the summer, and then at the end of summer you're like, oh my gosh, do I really need all these Scheffleras? So I've got more than this too, believe it or not. Ficus and Schefflera, they just root like crazy. So the plan is to take these all out of their individual little pots, put them in this big pot, and then it'll be, I'm sort of estimating here, but I'm guessing it'll be 3, 4, maybe 5 years before they start to fuse together and create that cool clump style bonsai. I'm gonna put them in all sort of facing outward, leaning outward a little bit, which will give it more room in the inside. And then as I go along, my plan is to, when I do my cuttings and trims, I'm just gonna stick the cuttings and trims back into the same pot. So they won't all survive, but I'm hoping that a good number of them will. And I'm just gonna make it a really dense clump, and then once it fuses together, I'm gonna go back in and later on down the road and trim it down and kind of shape it the way I want. But follow me now if you'd like, and I'm going to begin the process of filling in the pot with its soil. And I'm going to take these out of all their little pots, like I said, and put it in and sort of place together. I'm going to do it in fast forward so that you don't have to see every tedious motion. You can just kind of see it in faster speed, and then we'll get to the end result and we'll sort of discuss how it goes. I'm hoping this goes smooth. We'll see. Wish me luck. Let's go. So got it all in there. Couple of points. A, is it pretty? No. It's really not, but you know, it's not meant to be yet. It's a work in progress, and it's kind of an experiment for me too, just to, you know, see how it goes, see how long it takes to create a decent clump style bonsai, and really just to see how long it takes for these to all fuse together and start growing some aerial roots. So a couple notes on the aerial roots. I left the soil line lower than normal in this in hopes that that extra space in there will help kind of trap in some humidity, because humidity is really, I think, what causes the aerial roots to grow. It's really hard to accomplish here at Boise because it's so dry. So side note, my buddy who has a greenhouse, who kept a lot of these for me last year, he gets aerial roots on just about everything that he puts in there. Every ficus and Schefflera and just whatever he puts in there grows aerial roots. It's because he keeps it really humid. So therefore, my line of thinking is that if I can keep it somewhat humid in here, and not be too over generous on the watering, then that will produce aerial roots. Because again, my line of thinking is that aerial roots happen when it's looking for water. You know, it's sprouting those roots, looking, you know, because it senses that it's humid and it's not getting the moisture that it needs in the soil. You know, I don't know exactly what it is. That's just, I'm putting together different pieces that I've heard, and you know, things that sort of make sense to me. So that's what I'm thinking. Also, I put in that handful of pine bark on the top to also help trap in some humidity. So I read that that's one of the properties that it has. So that was my line of thinking for putting that in there. It just helps kind of trap some humidity. And like I said, right now it's not pretty. It's a big wild bush looking thing, and you know, if I didn't just put it together, I'd probably trim it up, and I will trim it up. I'm going to wait a few months for it to get established. So with this being late September, it could be, you know, maybe even spring before I feel comfortable trimming it back, you know, before I feel like it's fully established in there and can take it. I'm going to show you one other real quick, just as a little bonus feature here. I've got another Schefflera clump style that I've sort of been working on for about a year, but not to this extent. I didn't actually intend it. I was just sticking cuttings in a pot basically. So, but I'm going to show you something I did with that, thinking that that might also produce some aerial roots. So hang on one second, I'll go get it. All right, so this is the other one. Like I said, I had just been sticking some cuttings in a pot for about a year. It's got a few aerial roots, mostly just from its time in my buddy's greenhouse. But something that I just put this on here today. I'm trying something new. I just took the plastic wrap that was on that other pot that I just put everything together in. I just took that plastic wrap and kind of put it up around this, put a couple of shish kebab sticks, and just used some Scotch tape, taped it to the sticks, sealed off the bottom for the most part. And so what I'm hoping for / thinking is that having this on here will hold in some moisture and just that little bit of humidity to help with the aerial roots. It may or may not. I mean, this may just be a failed experiment that looks ugly and was a total, you know, bust. But hey, you don't know until you try, and it made sense to me, just because, you know, it's better than not having it on there. I mean, if this wasn't there, then it's just dry air. So, you know, it takes even longer to get aerial roots. Sorry, I got a fly buzzing around me here. Anyway, so that's just something that I'm trying here on this, just to see if it works. So I'll keep you updated. You know, I'll post updates on this and my other one here. All right, so here they are, my two ugly duckling Schefflera clump experiments. One in a halfway decent pot, one in just a training nursery pot, one with some plastic wrap around it, one without. It's just buried deeper in the pot and has some pine bark to help with moisture and humidity. So hopefully they both work, or hopefully at least one of them works. Either way, I'll keep you updated, you know, every time that there's something to update on these. I'll show you both and just let you know what's working and what's not, and that way if down the road you want to create something like it, you'll know what works and what doesn't based on my successes and or failures. So I hope you liked it. If so, please click like and subscribe on the video, and subscribe to the channel, and that way you can get alerts when there's updates on this or on other trees that I've been working on. I've got a lot of different varieties, and some of them work out, some of them don't. But I try to post the failures too, along with successes for the purpose of learning. So anyways, thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your day.